Hello, welcome back to the OTB channel. Are you looking for an alternative to Windows or perhaps macOS, especially now that Windows 7 has reached end of life? Well, Zorin OS claims to be a decent replacement. Let's see if it is. Okay, welcome back. So I was looking at what I should do today, and one of the distros that keeps raising its head is Zorin OS. It's an Ubuntu-based distro that's targeted at Windows and macOS users, and it makes a lot of great claims. I've not used it before. This is going to be the first time that I'm looking at it. So I've downloaded the ISO, we're going to fire it up, and we're going to see if its claims are justified. Before we do this, let's just have a quick look at the Zorin OS website and go to the split screen. So you should see the Zorin OS website in front of you. It's very colourful, lots of moving images, and it claims your computer easier. Zorin OS is the alternative to Windows and macOS, designed to make your computer faster, more powerful, secure and privacy respecting. Okay, what else does it do? Well, it's designed to be easy, so you won't need to learn anything to get started, apparently. The Zorin Appearance app lets you change the desktop to resemble the environment you're familiar with, whether it's Windows, Mac or Linux. Yes, you do get a chance to change the environment slightly, but my understanding is you only get the full range of choices if you pay for this operating system, and we'll come back to that in a second. What else does it claim? That it's rock solid and reliable, built on Ubuntu. I believe it's built on the Ubuntu LTS distro. And it runs on the same open source software that powers the US Department of Defense, NASA and more. It's resistant to viruses. Resistant to viruses, that's a strange use of words. Certainly Linux is less prone to viruses than Windows because it's inherently more secure, and to be honest, there's just less viruses out there. Resistant to viruses, if somebody went all out to create a Linux virus, I'm not so sure that that would necessarily be the case. It's just a strange way of putting things. Speedy on computers old and new. It works lightning fast and doesn't slow down with updates. The Lite edition runs snappy on computers as old as 15 years. Okay, what else? The power to do anything. From a full Microsoft Office compatible office suite to professional photo editing software. It comes with powerful apps out the box. Okay, I'm assuming by a full Microsoft Office compatible office suite, they are talking about LibreOffice. I wouldn't describe that as full compatibility in terms of the way it renders Microsoft Office documents, especially complex ones, but fine, let's wait and see. Your data belongs to you. Zorin doesn't collect personal data, so advertisers and governments can't spy on your activity. And you can have the source code. Okay, so it's compatible, flexible, and accessible. So lots of claims and clearly geared up for people who are perhaps moving from Windows or macOS. So if we hit the download Zorin link, let's see what we actually get. Unleash your computer. Download for only €39. Why does it cost? Well, it helps Linux thrive. Well, it certainly helps the Zorin developers thrive. Okay. So that is for what I believe is the Zorin Ultimate Edition. So if we wanted to download Zorin Ultimate, it's going to cost us €39. Okay. What about anything else there? Have we got options? I'm just quickly flicking through the website here. Editions, Ultimate. They also do Core. So Core is free. I believe Core is based on GNOME, and they also do a light version, which I believe is based on XFCE. The Ultimate version, I believe, has both desktop environments in, or that's what I'm given to understand. What's the difference? Is there a comparison section here? Yes, there is. All editions contain LibreOffice. The advanced desktop based on GNOME, well, all editions except Lite, because that has XFCE. Zorin Connect, it connects your phone and computer, all except the Lite edition, should I say. Standard desktop layouts are available to all. Premium desktop layouts, macOS, GNOME and Ubuntu. Okay, that's only available in the Ultimate Edition. Educational apps and games. Okay, so there is an education edition there. And so it goes on. I'm certainly not going to download the Ultimate Edition, that's for sure. If I click on download for the Ultimate Edition, does it make me pay straight away? Yes, it would appear that it does. And actually, €39 is not quite what it's going to cost, because it adds on tax of €7.80, taking us to €46.80. Right. Okay. Look, let's download the ISO. I'm going to download the Core Edition, which is one down from Ultimate. We'll fire it up in VirtualBox and we'll see what we think. Right, so I've downloaded the Core Edition, 2.18 gigs, the ISO. I've loaded it into VirtualBox. I've given it 2 cores or 2 threads of my i5 processor, 8 gig of RAM, and I've created a 40 gig virtual drive. I've also set it up to boot in EFI mode. So let's click start and see what happens. So far, so good. Let's see. Oh, right, okay. The boot screen comes up fairly quick. Try or install Zorin. There's a safe graphics mode. There's an NVIDIA mode. And there's check installation medium for defects. Or you can power off from here. Okay, so far so good. Let's just hit the default and see what happens. As you know, VirtualBox tends to be a bit dodgy with the FI implementations, but we'll see how Zorin copes with that. Well, the answer to that would seem to be pretty good. It's booted quite quickly, and we now get the opportunity to try Zorin or install Zorin. Do you know, I think I'm just going to go straight for the install, and then we'll look round it once it's installed. So let's click Install Zorin OS. Let's set our keyboard. English UK. I don't know if this is the standard Ubiquity installer. Download updates while installing. Yes. Install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi. Yes. Don't participate in the census. Right, so the census lets the Zorin OS developers count the number of users anonymously. Right, I don't have too much of a problem with that, but I would like to be given the option to opt in and to tick a box to opt in. I have to tick a box to opt out here, and so because it's that way round, I'm going to tick the box to opt out. Just me, feeling awkward. Right, let's continue with this and see where it gets us to. Okay, we've got a slight delay while it sorts itself out, and we have the spinny disk. What do we want to do? Erase disk and install Zorin OS. Well, we're on a brand new virtual disk, so let's just go with the default and click Install Now. If you continue, the following will be written. Okay, so it's recognised we're in EFI mode. It's going to create an ESP, presumably FAT32 partition, and a root partition formatted as ext4. No swap from what I can see, but let's just hit continue. It's picked up the time zone correctly. And let's get on and do the normal thing and put in my name. So OTB, my normal secure password. And I don't want to log in automatically. I want my password to let me log in. And off it goes, and it does the installation. I'll speed this section up and we'll come back once it's installed. Right, so it's now installed. We started about quarter to, and it's now 1:57. So by my reckoning, that's about 12 minutes. So a fairly boring installation. No slideshow to watch, but that's not really what it's all about. It's what the operating system looks like once we boot up the installation. So I'm going to shut this down now. I'm going to remove the ISO, and once I've done that, I'll boot into the full system, install guest editions if required, and we'll have a look round Zorin. Right, welcome back. So I removed the ISO and booted into the install system, put it into full screen mode, and it immediately went straight away to full HD, which is great. I haven't had to mess about with VirtualBox guest editions. So here we have Zorin. It's a very clean looking screen, I have to say. I'm not sure whether I like the wallpaper, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see what else might be available. So change background. There we go. Oh, the software updater is ready. Right, so at the moment, if I see I have an option to set a background for the lock screen and a background for the screen itself. So let's just hit background. And we have a number of wallpapers here by the look of it. Some of them seem to be quite nice, quite scenic. I'm not that keen on the pastel shades, which seem to come by default. Let's have a look what that's like and just click select. I think that's quite nice. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And it's asking me, do I want to install updates? I don't think I'm going to do that now. We may run that afterwards just to see how it works. So let's walk around a little bit. So over here we have the software store. So let's launch that and see what we get. And it would appear to be your standard sort of software store that we get with the likes of Ubuntu. So we can see what's already installed. And we can see what else we can install from here, and we can search for specifics. So Magnus, Chromium, PowerShell, Trackmania. Okay, fine. Tusk, Opera, Aura. It seems to be a rather strange set of defaults which is showing. But I suppose we could go to audio and video and see what we've got there. Yeah, a lot of the standard sort of applications that we'd expect. Let's go back from there. Graphics and photography. GIMP is already installed according to this, so that's always a good sign. And everything else. I mean, the great thing about these software stores, although I prefer to install from Synaptic or on the command line, they do make life easy. So let's just install Chromium, should I say. It asks me for my password. And off it goes, doing its thing. So if a new user, whether from Windows, Mac or another Linux distro, comes over to Zorin, they're not going to have any problem as far as installing apps is concerned. While that gets on with what it's doing, let's have a look at the menu. I'm not quite sure what this menu is. It doesn't have anything on the right click interface to actually have a look at, but it's based on GNOME. So if we go to accessories, we've got calculator. Is that Google Maps? Let's just click on that and see. Okay. Maybe Google Maps, maybe not Google Maps. Right. We'll just knock that off, I think. What else have we got? In accessories, a text editor. Okay. And what's this? Have we got an about? It's Gedit, right, which I sort of suspected with GNOME. Anything else in there? To do, weather. Let's go back. Games. Okay, we've already got a few games installed, including Mahjong and Mines. Graphics. We have a document viewer. We have the GIMP, LibreOffice Draw and Shotwell. Also Simple Scan. Okay. In Internet, we have Firefox as the default browser, which is good, and Ramina for remote desktop. In Office, we appear to have the full LibreOffice suite, which is great. Sound and video, we've got Brasero, Cheese, Pativi, which I'm given to understand is a little bit like Kden Live. Rhythmbox and a videos app. I wonder what the videos app is. Let's just open it up. Okay, I presume it's GNOME videos or something equivalent. We'll just knock that off for now. I'm not familiar with the GNOME interface, so I wouldn't pretend that I'm familiar with all the different apps that they have as default. We have GNOME disks in, some settings for power, the software store, the updater, which is the standard Ubuntu updater by the look of it, startup applications, Zorin Connect and Zorin Appearance. Let's click on Zorin Appearance and see what this does. So it gives us the option of a number of different pre-baked themes. I believe the ultimate version gives us more choices here, but without paying for it, I didn't seem to have the option to download it. So we have this layout at the moment. What happens if I click the middle one? Okay, it reduces the panel at the bottom. The menu looks pretty similar. I don't think there's a lot of difference there. So it's a smaller panel, essentially. And what about the last one? Aha! We're back to GNOME. I think I'm going to pick the middle one with the slightly smaller panel. And we have a few other settings here. Do we want to see mounted volumes, the rubbish bin, home, etc. on our desktop and network servers? On the title bar, do we want our buttons to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? And enable animations. What about the themes? Okay, so it's picked an accent colour for us there, and it's asking what background we would like. So let's click that one. Oh, right, this is one of these settings that changes given the ambient light. So let's just go straight away to the dark theme. And I have to say I quite like the dark theme there. Applications, what do we want? Do we want add waiter dark, high contrast? Let's pick add waiter dark. Actually, that's nicer than the actual black. And what icons do we want to pick? Let's try Zorin 95 and see what they're like. Yeah, I'm not sure I like the colour there. What about just high colour? Okay, they're the standard sort of icons we'd expect. High contrast. Oh yeah, so we're into the black and white there. Okay, well, let's see what the Zorin 95 theme is like. Greys. No, I'm going to go with add waiter dark, and I'm going to pick Zorin 95 as the theme. I suppose I could get used to that. The shell theme is Zorin 95. That seems to be the only option there. Fonts, interregular, roboto-regular. I've not heard of them before, but fine. And the panel, where do we want it, top or bottom? We can adjust its height, its opacity, show activities button, whether we auto hide it, clocks and calendar, etc., etc. So we can obviously play around with that to some extent. So I think Chromium's installed now. Let's just double check. Yes, it is. So that was System Tools. Let's go down. Zorin Connect. So this is where we sync our phone's notifications with the computer, browse photos from the phone, and reply to SMS messages on our desktop. Share files and web links between devices and use the phone as a remote control for your computer. Okay, well, theoretically that sounds good. Let's hit next. Devices. It's searching for devices. Okay, let's see if it has any luck. I've got an iPhone rather than an Android device, and I don't know whether this is just for Android devices. But we're letting it search for devices and see what it does. So far, it doesn't seem to be finding anything. It's connected to the same network as my phone, so I don't see why it shouldn't find anything. But I tell you what, we'll let it get on with that and we'll go back to the menu. So we looked at System Tools. Let's have a look at Utilities. So we've got the Archive Manager, Disk Usage, Fonts, Image Viewer, Logs, a System Monitor. Let's see what it's actually using here. Right, well, I'm in VirtualBox and I'm using this Connect app at the moment. It doesn't seem to be finding my iPhone, so I'm going to leave that for the time being. If I shut that off, what are we on? 1.4 gigs of memory. Right, okay. It's not using a huge amount of CPU, but 1.4 gig of memory isn't that lightweight. I think we have to forgive it at the moment, though, because it's in VirtualBox, and we're not getting a true representation of what it really is. Do we have a terminal here? I presume we do. At somewhere at least. Not there apparently. What about accessories? No. Utilities. Aha, there's our terminal. Okay, so presumably I can just do sudo apt update. If I can get the typing right. So, just a brief interlude here. I decided to have a little bit of a play installing a few things, and I obviously don't want to waste your time seeing me use the command line constantly. So I'm just breaking up the video, and we'll go back as I'm installing Audacity. So let's try Audacity. So sudo apt install Audacity. Yeah, all looking good. So you can use the command line as much as you ever did. And there you go. It's just about installed. Now, what I have done, I've saved you the the time it would take to watch me install other things on here. But I did actually install HTOP as well. So let's just take a quick look at HTOP, and you'll see that using HTOP, now that I've got everything shut down, it's come down to 1.36 gig, the RAM usage. So it's slightly less than we saw before, but it's not exactly what I'd call lightweight. I've also installed Synaptic, so let's open that up. There we go. And I've really done this just to have a look at the repos. So it looks to be the standard Ubuntu repos. And as I suspected, we've got lots of Zorin PPAs and their own packages there as well, which is how they install things that give it that particular Zorin look and feel. Okay, what about a driver manager? Have we got anything called driver manager? It doesn't seem to have that, strangely enough. If we go into settings, so we have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, appearance. We've been there already. Universal access, privacy. Okay, fine. And something called devices. Oh, and details. What does details give us? Okay, just pretty much standard details about the operating system, Zorin 15.1. Let's have a look at devices. So there's our display. It is indeed 1920 by 1080. We can scale it there. It's got our refresh rate, but no driver manager, strangely enough. Details about our keyboard. So shortcuts, keystrokes, the mouse and touchpad. The printer. Oh, well, I'm quite surprised at that. It's picked up my printer already, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. Additional printer settings. What's it got there? There are no printers configured and not accepting jobs. Well, let's click add. Network printer. Find network printer. There we go. Let's do it driverless. Forward. And it's searching for drivers now, which is fine. And forward again. And forward again. And apply. Strange that it appeared there, but it wasn't ready to accept jobs. Let me hit the print test page and see if anything happens. You should be able to... You can hear the printer now. Okay, so printing is as simple as that with the Canon MG 5600, which can be a little bit iffy with some distros. So I'll let it get on with its job, and we'll come back in a second when the printer has stopped making a noise. Well, the good news is that printed fine, so that was good to see. Test page on Canon MG 5600 printed. I'm always impressed when a distro can do that. So in terms of functionality, so far so good. I'm still a little bit confused about where the driver manager is. I'm hoping I'm not missing anything here. Right, so I've gone off and I've done some research. I was doing something wrong as far as the device drivers were concerned. They are on the system, I was missing them. I'll show you that in a minute. And as far as the Zorin Connect app is concerned, it appears to be an Android-only application, and you do need to download an app from the Google Play Store to get your Android phone working with it. So, that said, let's go and have a look at where the driver application is. Right, so I was concerned about where the driver manager was, so I went off and did a little bit of research, and apparently it can be accessed from the software updater. You just click on settings, which brings up all the standard repos, and it also has a section for additional drivers, so you can install from here. As you can see, it's saying the VirtualBox guest service is not working. Continue using a manually installed driver. Okay, fine. So if you're using NVIDIA or something like that, you would no doubt update from there. Okay, well, let's go and have a chat about this. So that's Zorin OS. What do I think about it? Well, everything seems to function as it should. The Connect app obviously works with Android phones. I haven't got an Android phone, so I couldn't test that. But apart from that, it's pretty solid, and I'd expect it to be solid given its Ubuntu LTS base. It's got its own look and feel, a very flat, clean look and feel, and compared to your standard GNOME desktop, I preferred it. I don't like the pastel colours. I'm not overly keen on the desktop environment generally, but that is just personal preference. I think they make quite a lot of statements about how easy it is and how similar it is to Windows and how similar it is to macOS. And it's as similar as any other Linux system in my view. It's all about look and feel, and those of you who have been using Linux for a while know how easy it is to customize the look and feel. Would a Windows user or a macOS user find the system easy to use? Yes, I think they would. At the end of the day, though, the only thing that separates Zorin, as far as I could see, from any other Ubuntu-based distro is customized look and feel. That's what it comes down to. And if you like the customized look and feel, and you like the ability to be able to switch layouts very quickly, it might well be for you. Would I use it? Probably not. As you know, I'm trialing Linux Mint and Peppermint at the moment on my little ThinkPad X131E, and I'm starting to really enjoy using Peppermint, I have to say, and I'd choose that over Zorin. But at the end of the day, Zorin is another decent operating system. It has some downsides. The downsides are, I certainly don't like the fact that you have to pay for the Ultimate Edition and you don't get chance to install a demo to see if you like it to start off with. Over €40, I think, is quite expensive for a Linux system that you can essentially download and customize for free if you're prepared to spend the time. If they would give you a trial and then offer you the option of contributing, I think that would be fairer. I didn't like the fact that I had to explicitly opt out of sending user data. And one thing I did also notice, when I typed the password after doing sudo, it came up with the stars, which showed exactly how many characters I was typing, which you don't normally get. So that could be a concern as far as security is concerned. But let's not get too finicky about it. If you like the look and feel, it's an easy operating system to work with, and go for it, give it a spin. This is probably going to be the last of the distro reviews I do for a week or two. I have a ramble planned for next week because I have lots to catch up with you on, not least of which my new cabin cum studio has now been completed. So I want to talk to you about that. But until next week, have a great weekend, and I'll see you then.